Okay, here we go with our first music theory lesson, looking at the relationships between the key signatures that we use. This diagram is called the circle of fifths, and if we take a little bit closer look at it here, we can see why it's called the circle of fifths and how these key signatures all relate to each other. So if you look at the first two here on the right side of the circle, going from key of C and adding sharps, we see the first two keys are from C up to G. And if we count the first and last notes, C, D, E, F, G, that's a fifth, 5 notes. Same thing if we go from G up to D, G, A, B, C, D, 5 notes. And we can see D up to A, also a perfect fifth. And if you continue clockwise around the circle, you'll see that we keep adding keys in the interval of a fifth. Now if we look over here on the right side of the circle with the flat keys, we see that C up to F is only a perfect fourth, C, D, E, F. And F up to B flat, also a perfect fourth, F, G, A, B flat. So when we add flats to the key signature, those will go in fourths. And we'll find out later when we do a little bit more harmonic analysis that the perfect fourth is just the inverse of the perfect fifth. In other words, we just turn the perfect fifth upside down and we get a fourth. Think about it. F up to C is a perfect fifth, B flat to F. Here's our first key signature now, and we'll look at all these in more detail and see how they work. And this, of course, is C major, no sharps, no flats. Probably the easiest one to remember. A lot of you probably already know it. So when we start adding sharps to the key signature, we add F sharp first. And the way we tell what key it's in is we look at the last sharp in the key signature and go up one note to G. So one sharp, G major. The second sharp we add is C sharp, up a perfect fifth from F, even though we write it lower down here to keep all the sharps in the staff. And so this is the key of D. Next note up from C sharp in this key signature, D major. The third sharp, of course, up a fifth from C, G sharp, making this the key of A major. And I bet you can guess the next sharp that we're going to add. That's right, D sharp. And this makes this the key of E major. And this continues. The pattern is the same. We keep adding sharps by fifth. So, of course, the next one's going to be A sharp. And you probably can guess by now that that makes this the key of B major. And it just keeps on going. It's very predictable. You know what order the sharps are going to come in because we go up a fifth now to E sharp. Got to be careful here because F is already sharp here. Remember, it was the first one we added. So this makes this the key of F sharp major. So you got to stick to the key signature. So the same thing will happen when we add our seventh sharp, B sharp. And then we'll look and see, of course, that C is already sharp in this key. So it's the key of C sharp major. So we can see that the sharps are all added in a series of fifths, starting with F sharp. You go up a fifth, add the sharps one at a time, and you can tell what the key signature is by looking at the note above the last sharp. So we see the pattern there in the circle of fifths going all the way from C with no sharps, no flats to C sharp major. So we add sharps in fifths and the keys progress in fifths. G to D, D to A, so on and so forth. So here's a nice little device you should probably remember, F, C, G, D, A, E, B. I would just memorize that pattern of letters. This is the order that we add sharps to the key signature. Now if we go back and look at the circle of fifths again, let's take a look and see what happens when we start adding flats to the key signature. We'll go counterclockwise around the circle and see how those keys relate to one another as we add flats. So the first flat we add is B flat. This is the key of F. There's really nothing to give you a clue. It doesn't follow a pattern like the sharp keys do. There is a pattern, but it's different. So one flat is the key of F. We add our second flat, and it's E flat. And to figure out what key we are with flats, we look at the next to the last flat. The next to the last flat is B flat, so that's what key we're in. Now, we add flats in a series of fourths. E flat was a fourth up from B flat. So we add A flat, the next to the last flat is E flat, so that makes this the key of E flat major. So we add flats in fourths, so can you guess the next flat? That's right, it's D flat, which makes the next to the last flat now A flat. So whatever the furthest one to the right of the key signature is, you just back up one. Or if you've got 4 flats, you think, I'm going to look at the third flat, you just subtract 1. However you want to think about it. So of course we add our next flat up a fourth to G flat, and that makes this key D flat major. 1 flat back, or there's 5 flats in this key signature, so you look at the fourth one. So on and so forth. And we keep on doing this the same way. We add our next flat, a fourth up to C flat, and that makes this key G flat major. One step back or one flat back. And then finally we add our 7th flat into the key signature, and it's F flat, which makes this, of course, C flat major. So you see there's distinct patterns in how we add sharps and flats to key signature. We add sharps in fifths, we add flats in fourths, sharp keys increase by fifths, flat keys increase by fourths. And just like we added the sharps F, C, G, D, A, E, B, well, check this out. Look how we add the flats B, E, A, D, G, C, F. It's backwards. It's just an inversion. So if you can remember one, you can remember the other because they're kind of like a mirror image of each other. So sharps on top, flats on bottom. Let's talk about minor keys a little bit. Here's the key of C major. And to find the minor key, we start in the key that we're in and we go down a minor third. So C down to A. Once again, staying in the key signature. So you go down 3 notes, C to B to A, and we're in A minor. Here's the key of E flat major. So we would go down 3 notes, E flat to D, down to C. So the E flat key signature is the same as C minor. We call these the relative minor keys. Works for all of them. You have to be careful again though if you get one with a lot of sharps like this one or a lot of flats. So we can see that in this key, G is already sharp. We're in the key of B. So we go down 3 notes, but we have to stay in the key signature, B to A to G. And G is sharp, so that would be G sharp minor. All right, that's it for now. That's your first introduction to some key relationships, how to figure out key signatures. In the next lesson, we'll have more fun with theory. We'll start talking about chords and harmonic structure and how we can tell the difference between major, minor, perfect, and all kinds of other intervals. See you next time.